Okay, what about death? Doesn't the vaccine save lives?
Correct, it lowers the death rate. It doesn't prevent it 100%.
Okay, so why are people dying?
Because it's not 100%.
So true story, just a few minutes ago, I finished watching this video right here, which is called Dr. Mike versus 20 anti-vaxxers. Now, for whatever reason, when you talk about the vaccine, it turns into a political, it stops being about the vaccine and the pros and cons of it, and it just becomes a political mess when people start fighting. And no, this is not a political video. That is not the point of this video. And in case you guys don't know, Dr. Mike is a super successful YouTuber, 14 million subscribers. I personally really enjoy his videos. My favorite type of content from him is when he's reacting to UFC injuries or doctor reacts to painful WWE injuries. That's my favorite type of content from him. But truth be told, I genuinely really enjoy his content. I'm someone that's always open to different opinions and different perspectives. This has obviously come with age. It's always awesome to hear other people out. I think that's a good way to grow as a person because you're not stuck in your ways of I'm right and everything else is wrong. Everything I say is right. I think that's how you fall, not only as a content creator, but as a human being as well. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who don't think like that. They're legit stuck in their ways with lies, misinformation, misreporting, or just being completely disingenuous just so you can be like, I'm right and everyone is wrong. And that is exactly what happened in this video. I don't know if you guys have seen this video, but every single time Dr. Mike would speak or he would try to get a point across or make an argument or defend himself, the people would cut him off. It's so annoying, and it would end the conversation there. I'll show a few examples. Dude, this sucks. Like, let the guy speak for a second. And I was like, should I make a video about this? Should I not? Are people gonna be like, oh, he's getting into politics. This is becoming political. Sense is turning political, guys. I was on the fence about it because I'm like, oh, I don't want to start that discourse. He's going woke, guys. He's pro-vaccine or he's anti-vaccine. He's a right-winger. He's a left. So, for example, there's this moment.
The next claim is that vaccine-acquired immunity is better than natural immunity. Hello.
Hello, Dr. Mike.
Pleasure.
Pleasure. I want to say first that I'm a mother of 6 children. My oldest 2 children do have vaccines. My 3rd child, he got a vaccine that the doctor said were safe that caused him brain issues for the rest of his life, and he has arrested hydrocephalus. I want to continue to say my youngest 3 children have no vaccines at all. They're perfectly fine. They're advanced. Never got sick. Just a healthy diet, keeping them away from toxic foods, making sure their hygiene is good. Did you know that COVID has a patent and natural illnesses can't have patents? Did you know that every illness dated back to polio has a patent? The only thing that doesn't have a patent is the common cold. Did you know that Fauci funded medical schools to try to make the vaccine make COVID more deadly? Vaccine immunity is not really a thing because they cannot guarantee it makes anybody immune. There's more side effects from getting a vaccine than to not get a vaccine.
Besides some stuff, if not everything being wrong here. And how do I know this? Is it because I'm a doctor? Is it because I'm an expert? No, because they're fact checking them in real time. And the fact checker here is working overtime. There's a lot of problems with this individual in specific. What are you guys noticing? Number one, she's most likely getting her information from The Onion or BuzzFeed or her crazy uncle on Facebook. Number two, the other thing that I'm noticing is that she has time to speak. And this does not look like a debate. It just generally looks like Dr. Mike and 20 people in a therapy session. I think the whole format is, fuck, this lady is saying whatever she thinks is right, even though she's wrong. And what do you think happens when it's Dr. Mike's time to speak and have his chance to reply?
They're more likely to get illness vaccinated versus not vaccinated. There's studies that show unvaccinated children are more healthier. In Japan, they don't start their vaccine schedule, I believe, until 2 years old. Autism is almost non-existent.
Now, sorry, I know that I said that I was going to Dr. Mike, and this video is called The Dr. Mike Situation is Sad, but I'm sorry. How could he be this fucking uninformed, yet have the balls to go on here and say that? The sad thing is that there's people that legitimately believe this, and I get it if you're just a normal person that's misinformed because there's so much misinformation, but when you're going to a Jubilee video with 10 million subscribers, you're going up against a doctor. Don't you think you should do the bare minimum to do the research? And these crazy claims, people in Japan don't even get autism. Do you know that it's until 2 years old that they get vaccinated? And you're wrong about everything. How could anyone be this misinformed? Can this lady please just shut the fuck up. She legitimately has no idea what she's talking about. Japan Pediatric Society recommends vaccination schedule start at 2 months, not 2 years. 3 recent studies in Japan show that more than 3% of Japanese children are diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder compared to 2.8 estimated in the US. It's fine if you have your opinions on vaccine, of being pro-vax, anti-vax. I'm not here to discuss that. If you're gonna be anti-vax, at least have the facts right. You know what I mean? A little fucking research, especially once again, if you're going up on this show and you're arguing or debating a doctor, a real doctor, not a Facebook doctor.
And they don't start their vaccine schedule, I believe, until 2 years old. Autism is almost non-existent. And this is something that needs to be documented. Dated back to polio, everything has a patent except for the common cold. Mad cow disease, Spanish flu, COVID, everything has a patent. So that leads me to believe Big Pharma has been ruining our people for generations since the Great Depression, since, like he said, Rockefeller agreed to fund medical schools and the education system around 1920s. Since then, illnesses have increased and increased and increased and increased and increased. And all we ever needed was to take care of ourselves and have good hygiene.
Something I think our healthcare system doesn't do enough is say, I don't know. And I have no idea about Dr. Fauci's patents.
Already, he's barely speaking, and the other 19 fucking people, one of them already raised their flag. They want him gone because they want to keep living in the echo chamber. Now, you guys know me. I have no agenda. I don't get into politics that heavy besides criticizing retards like Ben Shapiro or Elon Musk. I don't cover politics. It's not what I do. This lady already had time to speak, and 90% of the stuff she was saying was wrong. She got fact checked. 5 seconds in, it's Dr. Mike's turn to talk. He's being very polite, very formal, very nice, very understanding. And someone that's already raising the flag, like, yeah, let's keep it moving. Get him out of there. Let's move on to the next person. It's like, I need to let it be known that this is pissing me off on my YouTube channel.
And I have no idea about Dr. Fauci's patents. I don't know about patents on viruses. I'm a family medicine physician. That means I work in a clinic where people come in with either an acute complaint, something's going on with them, or they're coming in for a preventive physical where we can get ahead of things and make them healthier by preventing illness. In fact, if you think about where pharma's profits are, if pharma had to choose between preventing an illness or to treat an illness for the rest of someone's life, financially speaking, they'd probably want to just treat someone for the rest of their life.
Exactly.
But that's not what vaccines are. Vaccines prevent that illness. They prevent it from happening. And when you brought up the subject of autism, I think it's an important subject, and it's a subject that's been largely debunked by the entire world community.
Not at all. I've seen studies that say otherwise, doctor. So I don't know if you're going off Rockefeller's medicine or are you going off of holistic medicine as well. As a scientific mind, you're supposed to observe everybody's hypothesis, not just Rockefeller's medical schools. And that's why I feel like you've got most of your knowledge from, and maybe you should branch out into holistic medicine because vaccines have never been the answer. They were created to separate us from spirituality and consciousness. If you look at the ingredients, there's nothing healthy in vaccines. Formaldehyde, all types of stuff. So none of that prevents. Everybody that vaccines still get illnesses.
Now, truth be told, this lady does look a bit unhinged. Now, you guys know me. I'm not religious. I'm a trust the science bro type individual. I'm not religious at all. Never have. But I have no problem against other religions. Like, I just do me, right? And you do whatever the fuck makes you happy. It's like, dude, we're not talking about religion right now. We're talking about, well, vaccines. That's the whole argument. And she's going in a whole different rant. And she does this multiple times. Later on, she comes back and goes on a whole rant about something that's completely unrelated. Dude, this is not a free therapy session. It's supposed to be a debate, a conversation. A conversation in a debate. Shouldn't you want to hear the other side of the story, not just what you believe in? You also want to get the other perspective. And this is one of the main reasons that I'm making this video. It was just so irritating to see this and Dr. Mike talking or barely getting his point across. And they're like, I'm sorry, next person. This format that Jubilee uses is bad. And I'm not the only one who thinks this, by the way. This comment with 53,000 likes. What do they keep voting out when Dr. Mike has to say anything? This format is brain dead. That redhead lady is the epitome of, if I don't believe it, then it isn't true. 1000%, this is who she is. And it's so annoying.
The prevention from vaccines comes from prevention of death and serious illness. And we've seen that when you study that, not just in the US by the Rockefeller system that you describe, one of the largest studies in the world surrounding vaccines and autism in children came from Denmark with over 500,000 children. That is not a US system, that is not a capitalist system, and they found that there is no pattern.
That's not
so
true.
I'm
seen
trying to
other
branch out as much as possible.
Pause. You've been voted out by the majority.
Okay.
Please
Thank you
return
so
to your
much.
seat.
That's what I mean. Like, Dr. Mike was cooking. He was correcting her. Who's the fucking retard that voted him out? He's finally getting his chance to speak. He's trying to correct this lady and tell her, nah, you're wrong. Stop getting your information from your crazy uncle from Facebook. People don't want to hear that because they don't want to be told you're wrong. And they're like, well, yeah, you're out. It's like, dude, that's how we don't grow. That's how you stay the same. You should explore different options, different opinions. And I'm not saying that doctors are always right, because they're not. But when it's the doctor's turn to speak on things and respond to what you're saying, the lies you're throwing, when he's responding with facts, people want him out because they don't want to hear it. And I'm probably more pissed off at this than Dr. Mike was. And these people don't want to hear it, and that is how you don't have healthy dialogue. Here's another example of that exact same thing happening.
I don't subscribe to their protocols is because anyone can make a claim about anything, just like RFK does with these statements. Until someone backs up these claims with good substantial evidence, and there is a hierarchy of what good substantial evidence is, we won't believe those stats. The same way that if you sat across from me right now and told me you're the fastest human on earth at 100 meters, you might be telling the truth. Provisionally, subjectively, it might be true. The only way I'll know it's true is if we have an Olympic timekeeper with an Olympic device measured with the proper measuring tape. Then I can witness it, and then I can see it's true.
Okay, pause. Sorry, you've been voted out by the majority.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So that other guy had like 4 minutes to speak, and Dr. Mike had like a minute and a half. Like, it's just, this format is so bad. No one really grows in conversations like these. If you had your 2, 3, 4 minutes to speak up about whatever you believe in, people should be respectful and also give those same 3, 4 minutes to the doctor. I was mad, so mad that I'm making a video talking about Dr. Mike and this whole insane situation here.
Yeah, I think everyone in this room has been very charitable in speaking with me, and I actually really appreciate it. I'm here volunteering my time to try and just share what I've learned, my experience, my knowledge, what I would do if I was facing a dilemma with vaccinating my future child. And my goal is just to share the most accurate information, because when I started in healthcare and I was a resident and I was in my training, the amount of negative things people were doing to their health, like a lot of the metabolic things that you've discussed, like the lifestyle choices, were largely due to other people misinforming them or making miracle promises.
Like almost like doctors saying cigarette smoke is actually good for you?
Exactly. In fact, everything that we're doing in healthcare right now, like 50% of it over the next 100 years will be found to be ineffective, or there's going to be something better.
And we'll go back to nature, right?
And some of it will go back to nature. Like, going back to nature sounds really good, but there's also a little bit of a fallacy in that. So like in nature, people
Like, let him speak. Let him speak. He's making a fucking point.
Let me speak!
Let him respond. Stop cutting him off halfway through his argument because you don't agree with him.
But there's also a little bit of a fallacy in that. So like in nature, people walk barefoot, but we don't choose to walk barefoot because we don't want to get tetanus infection from the floor and get cuts on our feet. There's
Yeah, and all of these chemical-induced floors that we're putting, all of these bleaches, these things that are known
Exactly,
to-
forever chemicals in our watch
but
bands.
grounding is a thing. Earthing is a thing that has proven to help with
So
cancer.
how do we balance a healthy lifestyle of being outdoors with modern science is where we need to go.
I think we can do it, right?
Yeah.
Because allopathic medicine did rule out, once again, I think I brought up the flexible
I'm not an
report, right?
allopathic physician.
Right, right.
How wild is that? I'm an osteopathic physician.
well,
so
really?
I think more of the holistic approach than a traditional allopathic physician
Right.
would. I did not go to an allopathic medical school, and I am very passionate about one thing that I feel like is lost in modern healthcare: the body's ability to heal itself.
Yes, amen.
And I think that sometimes we envision so much more control than what we actually have. Like, for example, do you think wearing a seatbelt saves lives?
It can, yeah, for sure.
Has it ever saved yours?
No,
Have you worn it all the time or majority of the time?
I have not worn it all the time,
But
but
majority
I
of the
could
time.
see.
You
yeah,
regularly
yeah.
wear it.
Yeah, for sure.
Does that mean it was stupid to have done so?
No, not at all. But I think the
That's
seatbelt
how
is now
I
risking my life as a vaccine would be risking
So there's
my
some
life, right?
people that believe, like anti-vaxxers believe vaccines are harmful without great evidence, that seatbelts can cause you to get trapped and et cetera, and
You're
actually
saying
cause more problems.
anti-vaxxers believe that?
No, I'm saying like anti-vaxxers
Oh, okay.
believe negative beliefs about vaccines that are not
I
well
see.
proven. Some people say that about seatbelts. Some people say that the world is not round and they believe it to be flat.
Now, can you compare vaccine skepticism with really seatbelt skepticism? Like, do you think that that really weighs,
I
especially
think
when
the
people have been
principle-
injured from vaccines? This is a real thing that
People
has
have been
happened.
injured by seatbelts.
I understand. So I'm going to give somebody else the time, but my claim is pretty much that RFK is standing up for a lot of different things that are going on in this country right now that are causing more damage than COVID.
I would love for someone else to stand up for those things as opposed to RFK.
I think
but we
you
agree
as well,
with it.
right?
Yeah.
The reason why I play that long clip is that because I was lazy and drinking G Fuel and eating hot Cheetos. Definitely not. That is how you kind of have a good argument, a good debate. No shouting, no people cutting you off. And like, for example, like all these people, right? 8 of them were like, yeah, I heard enough. Bye, doctor. I think this was one of the better outcomes.
She talks about how this is the way to heal the world, is through the natural medicine of God. God gave us everything that we needed. The reality is, if we don't get vaccinated with Jesus, we will face God on Judgment Day. It's not just about health. It's about freedom of speech. It's about the government's trying to kill us. Even Bill Gates had, I think it was kind of like a TED Talk, but he had like, a talk where he said, we need to get the population down, and we're going to do a great job of it. And you know how? Through improving vaccines, because we're going to lower the population that way.
Okay,
and you can
pause,
find it.
Pause. You've been voted out. Please return to your seat.
This person sounds insane. And I guarantee you she's at least in like 30 different Facebook groups about conspiracy theories.
Vaccines cause autism.
So they don't cause autism, you're saying?
Correct.
At all?
Correct.
Well, that's news to me. Okay, what about death? Doesn't the vaccine save lives?
Correct. It lowers the death rate. It doesn't prevent it 100%.
Okay, so why are people dying?
Because it's not 100%.
Can any idiot just go on these shows? Nothing is 100% safe and nothing is 100% secure. For example, later today, I plan on driving like 20 minutes to get some coffee. Do I think I'm gonna die? No, I don't think so, but I could get in the car accident. Not my fault, but it could happen to me and I could fucking die. But the chances of me leaving my house to go to the coffee shop, it's not 100% confirmed that I'll be back. It's not a guaranteed. And that's just everything in life. Nothing in life is 100% safe or secure. And vaccines are no exception.
If someone shares let's do it this way. I think this is a very visual and easy way to understand it. If there are 2 streets to cross to get to the other side of the road, and I've run 1 million people through this trial, and I saw that the sidewalk on the right is much safer than the sidewalk on the left, or the street on the left. Mm-hmm. And someone starts spreading misinformation that the right sidewalk is actually so deadly, and they saw someone die and it was brutal, and they make it very powerful, and they start convincing people to cross on the more dangerous sidewalk. I would say that they're being a villain by telling people to go on the other side of the sidewalk. And they're also a victim because they may have been misled by someone who shared a very scary story.
Understood. So what would be an example of the misinformation that you're referring to?
Like that vaccines cause autism.
So they don't cause autism, you're saying?
Correct.
At all?
Correct.
Well, that's news to me. Okay, what about death? Doesn't the vaccine save lives?
Correct. It lowers the death rate. It doesn't prevent it 100%.
Okay, so why are people dying?
Because it's not 100%.
But reality is, majority of the people who were dying were vaccinated people.
Correct, because most people were vaccinated.
The misinformation, autism, that's one I have to look into. Is there anything else?
In terms of what's bad misinformation,
Mm-hmm.
I've heard people say things like there's no such thing as a safe vaccine. I think that's misinformation.
Okay, pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return
Thank
to
you.
your seat.
Appreciate it.
And it's a shame that whenever he gets going or the ball starts to roll or he finally starts to speak, he gets cut off. The top comment says, this really didn't feel like a debate. It feels like 20 people venting as if it's therapy. I agree. 1,000% agree. A lot of these arguments come down to, I know one person, 1,000%. This video should be named, one doctor tries to explain medicine to 20 people who just don't get it. The flags shouldn't be counted while Dr. Mike is speaking. They are not supposed to be voting him out. Agree. Tough watch. Respect to Dr. Mike for remaining calm and respectful. And like I said, shout out to Dr. Mike for being able to tolerate this and keeping his cool and still being respectful. Let's keep the conversation nice. I don't want World War III to start in the comment section below. But with that said, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. I appreciate you. Much love. And I'll see you next time. All right. Bye.